Straight ahead on CCX News, mom and pop teaming up with internet giant. See how one small business is using Amazon to increase sales. Plus, the Plymouth volunteer that brings the calm to Super Bowl madness. But first, the Hopkins high school students who are making a legislative push to educate others on sex trafficking. CCX News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Law enforcement patrolling the Super Bowl are keeping an eye out for sex trafficking, but it's a problem that happens regardless of whether there's a big game in town. Reporter Shannon Slatton explains how a group of Hopkins high school students are doing something about it.
I'm Jessica Melnick, the founder and president of Girls United, and it was started in 2014, and it stemmed out of a conversation that we had in our 7th grade life science class.
When Hopkins High School junior Jessica Melnick took the microphone at the state capitol this week, she spoke with a wisdom beyond her years,
which will hopefully start the conversation and open many doors towards preventing sex trafficking.
Jessica leads a group of students at Hopkins High called Girls United Minnesota, and together they put on programs to empower younger female students with positive messages about body image or learning math and science. They also host speakers, and one speaker's message resonated with the young women.
We had a speaker come and talk to us in November about sex trafficking in Minnesota. Afterwards, we just were kind of surprised that it wasn't something that we had heard about in school.
The most shocking thing for me was that it happened so close to home. There was a girl here that was sex trafficked at the Hopkins High School.
So Girls United Minnesota decided to take action. They started researching and brainstorming what they could do.
We don't just meet to chat, to just have fun, but we also meet to make a difference in this world and to hope one day that it becomes a better place.
Then they met with bipartisan legislators to help craft a bill to prevent sex trafficking through education.
It gives permission to schools to teach about sex trafficking and hopefully sex trafficking prevention education. And our goal would be to educate students before they get into the life.
This is a spectacular story, and we want to make sure that we recognize that as legislators, we have a lot of great ideas. We all think we do at times, but this is something that came from them. They were the ones that inspired this legislation. They are the ones who brought this to our attention.
The legislative session opens up in a few weeks, and the young women have high hopes their bill will go far. In the meantime, they will host an informative workshop on sex trafficking at the Eisenhower Community Center on Thursday, February 15th, starting at 6:30 p.m. Mike?
All right, Shannon, thank you. Well, if you can't afford tickets to the Super Bowl but want to be part of the super scene, then the Mall of America is a good place to be. As Eric Nelson found out, that's just what some residents of the Northwest Metro are doing.
The Super Bowl's here. It doesn't happen that often. You got to go see it.
The Mall of America is the epicenter of the bold North. Step inside this super scene, and Crew 52 volunteers give you a super greeting.
Hi, you guys have any questions?
Katie Klopfenstein grew up in Plymouth and is one of the 10,000 volunteers who do this for free.
Totally worth it. It's fun to be part of something in history.
Klopfenstein's job is to meet and greet and to be warm and friendly during this frigid week.
Yes, you got to be that Minnesota nice. Got to welcome them to the north, especially with the cold weather.
Forget about Nordstrom's or Macy's. The trendy spot at MOA is Radio Row.
It's busy.
This is where the hot air is.
It's just really awesome to see Minneapolis host the Super Bowl.
As hundreds of talk show hosts babble endlessly about Sunday's Super Bowl and all things NFL.
It's interesting. Seen some interesting things. A lot of people around today.
It's crazy. I mean, I flew out here for this, and it's cool seeing all the players.
If you are an NFL fan, this is like being in a candy store.
Yes, absolutely.
There are famous football faces everywhere.
Just crazy to just see everyone that you're used to seeing on TV and see them with your own eyes. Really awesome.
A lot of the Viking players. We saw Steph Diggs and Teddy Bridgewater.
A galaxy of stars has flocked to the Twin Cities.
Good to be here, man. Good to be here. I even got my partner Terry Lewis with me. That's when you know it's special.
Including a couple who put Minnesota music on the map.
Love the people here, love the city, and I'm just happy everybody's having a great time.
Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis are staging concerts all week in downtown Minneapolis, and the show has gone on despite the Arctic cold.
And it started snowing last night. We're wiping snow off the keyboards, and it was crazy. But it's never been done before, and I know we're setting some kind of Guinness World Record for the coldest concerts ever.
Besides bumping into celebrities and athletes, local fans might also catch a glimpse of this trophy. which rarely comes to Minnesota. At the Mall of America, I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
And if you're heading to the Super Bowl experience or the free Super Bowl live activities on Nicollet, you can avoid the traffic and parking headaches. Special event bus service is underway at the Maple Grove Transit Station that'll take you to downtown Minneapolis for a couple of bucks. Maple Grove Transit Express Route 781 has expanded its weekday service through Friday, and on Saturday, bus service runs every 30 minutes, similar to the State Fair shuttle.
For the weekend service, there will be Metro Transit ambassadors on site helping people, showing them where to get the bus, answering any question, things like that. The weekday service, anyone can call me throughout the week and get details, and we'll help them out as far as getting it down there and back.
The Maple Grove Transit Station is located near the shops at Arbor Lakes, and for more details on bus fares and service times, go to maplegrovetransit.org. The small businesses are teaming up with a retail giant to expand their reach.
We've had enough demand, people asking for us to deliver. As a small business, we can't afford really to employ delivery drivers.
So starting this week, the Brooklyn Park Daily Dose Cafe is partnering with Amazon to deliver food and coffee. When an Amazon member orders, it appears on a Kindle in the kitchen, and an Amazon delivery driver picks it up at a scheduled time. Owner Ben Haven says it allows them to reach a new market with a delivery service they wouldn't have been able to afford otherwise.
A lot of times you're locked at work, you can't get away from your desk, you're at home with the kids, and you don't want to bundle them up on a cold day like today. So now it allows us to be able to feed them or give them their coffee or caffeine fix without them having to leave the home.
And Daily Dose has already taken several delivery orders a day. The coffee stays hot because they don't prepare the order until just before the driver arrives. Well, customers do pay a delivery fee to Amazon based on distance and time of day. February is Black History Month, and tomorrow in Brooklyn Park there's an opportunity to learn more about the rich culture of African American history. The city is hosting its third annual Cities United Black History Month event. It takes place from 9 to 1 Friday at Hennepin Technical College. The event features music from local artists, a poetry slam, and a conversation involving high school students on the community over competition movement. Still ahead, how Osseo Middle School uses its diversity to help students learn. That's next in School Spotlight. Plus, local skiers race at the Northwest Suburban Conference Nordic Ski Championships. We'll have the results. But first, despite the cold start to February, keep this in mind. January temperatures ended up warmer than average. Osseo Middle School is embracing its diversity by offering courses that match its student body. One of those courses focuses on Native American history and culture. Reporter Sonia Goins has more in today's School Spotlight.
Character and life lessons are a key part of the curriculum here at Osseo Middle School.
At Osseo, we have the 3 R's, we call them. It's being resourceful, responsible, and respectful.
More than 1,000 students attend the school. Look around the halls and you'll see a very diverse population.
Our building's really working hard to make sure that we are recognizing and celebrating differences.
All right, so we're going to go back to sovereignty.
These students are participating in American Indian education.
And actually in the treaties it says we maintain our right to hunt and fish.
The class has been offered at Osseo Middle School for 22 years.
As American Indian people, we don't see ourselves reflected in the curriculum.
Ramona Quito Stately says the goal is to change that by enhancing cultural identity of American Indian children. She says it's had a positive impact. Osseo area schools have one of the highest graduation rates of American Indian students in the state.
The idea of Indian education is to actually combat the effects of boarding schools, which was really the original Indian education. Assimilation.
A variety of enrichment classes are offered at the school. Each day, students meet for half an hour in the advisory program.
We focus on the whole child. We understand that until they're in a place socially and emotionally they're probably not going to be able to learn academically.
So we're going to divide by 3.
For students,
And then what do we do next?
it's a more hands-on approach when it comes to learning math.
How do you undo multiplying?
These students are doing what's called a gallery walk. At each station, they are reviewing math concepts that they've already learned in the classroom.
It's just like challenging your learning by having you do different problems and trying to figure them out by yourself.
Teacher Ann Hippen says her students are more engaged.
Definitely, the more interactive we are and the more that we get kids out and moving while they're learning, that definitely helps increase scores.
An intervention plan is in place for students who might need extra help in math and other subjects.
We review our data, and then we have our site improvement team that focuses on that and identifies which students or group of students aren't being successful, and we establish interventions for them, both in math, reading, and with behavior or social and emotional issues.
Teachers and staff say their great reward is seeing students do well and achieve their goals long after they leave Osseo Middle School.
We have an absolutely great staff here, we have great students, and we have great families. And when you put those 3 things in place, it's a recipe for success.
In Osseo, Sonia Goins, CCX News.
Osseo Middle School has a variety of after-school programs, including food science, chess, language, arts, and cooking. The school also teams up with several community partners, including General Mills, to provide children opportunities that they might not get in a typical class setting. Well, still ahead, Robbinsdale's upcoming birthday celebration that includes a cootie sculpture. But first, Terry Tuma drops by for his weekly ice fishing tip. John Jacobson is in next with sports.
I'm John Jacobson with sports. The timing was good for Nordic skiers in the Northwest Suburban Conference. Their conference meet was Wednesday before the temperature plummeted. Armstrong's Lucy Anderson starting second in the girls' pursuit format based on her time in the freestyle race. And in the end, Anderson overtakes Sarah Olson of Blaine for the top spot. Her combined time, 28 minutes, 10.6 seconds. Olson finishes second, 6 seconds back. Armstrong takes the next 2 spots. Leah Rudd is third for the Falcons, with her teammate Mae Barnes in 4th place as the Falcons race to the team victory. Sydney Crandall of Champlin Park finishes 7th. Park Center's Elizabeth Matson and Armstrong's Rainey Baker also make the top 10. Then it's the boys' turn at Worth. Will Ahmed of Armstrong starts in 3rd place. Blaine senior Ben Olson is all by himself in the end, and first he wins in a combined 23 minutes 47 seconds. He wins by nearly 45 seconds. Then it's a group of 3. Joe Lynch of Spring Lake Park is second, followed by James Szymanski of Blaine, and Ahmed, who is pretty tired as he takes 4th place while leading the Falcons to the team title. CJ Young of Maple Grove is 6th, with the next 9 skiers all from local teams as well. Highlights from the Lake Conference meet Friday here on CCX News. Earlier this week, we showed you how the Armstrong Cooper boys hockey team is chasing a conference title. Champlin Park is also in the running. Jay Wilcox has more on the Rebels.
It's a big week for the Champlin Park Rebels. They have a shot at the West Division title in the Northwest Suburban Conference. Rebels face Coon Rapids Thursday night, and a win there would tie them with Armstrong Cooper for first. And as luck would have it, the Rebels host the Wings Saturday night.
It's a huge week. We need to beat Coon Rapids and then take down Armstrong for the title on Saturday. It'd be huge. We've never got a conference championship or anything, so it'd be really nice to get for the squad.
Yeah, we always talk about going to the XL, but first we always got to win a conference championship. I've never done that, so it's going to be pretty exciting.
It's been a fun season for the Rebels as they've taken a step forward and been more consistent this winter.
Yeah, you know what, we have a little bit of an older group this year, and just the personalities of the kids, it's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun to see their progress over the last 3 years. So, you know, we have some good goaltending, we have some defensemen that are really coming along, and a few extra guys are putting the puck in the net right now.
The first meeting with Armstrong Cooper ended in a tie as the Rebels came on strong late with 2 quick goals. They have an idea what to expect Saturday.
We work harder in the corners and stuff, but they and we have more speed, but they hit more, so we just gotta play more physical and then we can take them down pretty easily.
You know what, they're an excellent team. They're very, very good. You know, they got some good elite players. You can tell that they're really well coached. So it's going to be a hard game, but we have to get there first. We have to win a game against Coon Rapids, and we know that Coon Rapids always plays us tough. So we're going to go into that game on Thursday and hopefully do well, and then hopefully set up a big game for Saturday night.
The Rebels have a shot to make some noise in a Section 5 AA tournament without any real dominant teams. But first things first, shooting for a conference title. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports. Tough one, and then Roberts was all.
Again, the Rebels host Coon Rapids Thursday and Armstrong Cooper Saturday. Both games are at 7 p.m. at the Ice Forum. Suspending your lure just the right distance off the bottom of the lake to catch fish is sometimes more art than science. Terry Tuma has more in this week's CCX Sports Ice Fishing Tip.
A very common question that's been asked, not only at seminars, but wherever we travel, is how far off the bottom should I jig? You know, that's a question that's really hard to answer. Basically, using your Vexilar to mark those fish. As you can see, we're marking a fish right now that's right off the bottom. And what we really have to understand is what affects these fish as far as depth. And as I mentioned, you know, so many times we have this tendency, almost like we're brainwashed, is to fish close to the bottom. You know, for walleye 6 inches or a foot off the bottom. For crappies, you know, 2 feet off the bottom. For bluegills, a foot to 2 feet off the bottom. And generally speaking, they can be any place in that water column. And what affects these fish in that water column? One is where is the food, and then of course the time of the season, the first ice, mid ice, or late ice is another factor, and then noise, fishing, pressure. Those are all ingredients where we must adjust. So, you know, use your electronics to mark these fish and work those fish accordingly. It's extremely important. You know, the fish really tell us where they're at in that water column. Give it a try. Pay attention to your electronics. You will catch fish.
Thanks, Terry. That's all for sports. Mike, back to you.
All right, John, thank you. Up next, celebrating a bug that entertained generations. We'll explain when we come back. Well, finally, Robbinsdale gears up for its 125th birthday celebration. The city is selling buttons to raise funds for the Quasquicentennial celebration, which takes place in April. The buttons sell for $5 each, and there are 4 different ones if you're a collector. They also allow you to participate in the Cootie Medallion Hunt. Yes, according to the Historical Society, a postal worker came up with the Cootie game in Robbinsdale in the 1940s. Now a local welder is working on a Cootie sculpture. You can buy Quasquicentennial buttons at City Hall and other locations in Robbinsdale. That'll do it. That's the news for now. Thanks for joining us. See you back here again on Friday, starting at 4.